Hey guys, welcome back to Mr. Abadi TV. Today we're going to be looking at the piano and we're going to be looking at one of the Adele songs, Someone Like You. If you don't know it, go and have a listen to it and see if you can remember it. But if you do know it, let's get cracking on and see how we play this one. Okay, so first things first, we're going to look at the chord shapes that you need. Now we're just going to have a look at the introduction and the verse and the chorus, which is the same. So first things first, we have to look at the chords that we use, the shapes that we use, okay? Now, the first shape that we use is an A major chord. So that includes an A, a C sharp, and an E. Okay, that's one shape that we need. Now, the second shape we're going to move to is we're going to use our thumb. These two fingers here are going to stay in the same place. Now, our thumb's just going to move up one space to the first black note before it, which is G sharp, to make the second note, which is C sharp minor. Okay? Now, from there, what we're going to do is we're going to use that C sharp as a bit of an anchor, and it's not going to move. Our thumb's going to move back down from the G sharp to the A. Okay, and then our finger that's on the E is going to move up to the F sharp, which is this black note here. Okay, and then the final chord, what we're going to do is we're going to move this middle finger that's been used as an anchor down to the D from the C sharp. Okay, so those four shapes again are A, C sharp and E, G sharp, C sharp and E, A, C sharp and F sharp, and A, D and F sharp. So what I want you to be able to do is be able to change between those chords quite fluently like this. Okay, practice that round a couple of times before you move on to this next part. So, like I said, play around that a few times until you get really familiar with those shapes, until you can play them perfectly every single time. Keep going round and round until you can do that. You could also put on the song and try and play along with the chords that are played at the same time there. Okay, so practice those chord shapes a couple of times before moving on to this next part. Okay, so the next part is not just playing all three notes together, like that, it's playing one after the other in a kind of pattern, which is followed throughout the whole song, where basically you play the first, second, third, and back to second again, like this. And that was 4 times on the same thing, okay? So to slow it down again, that was A, C sharp, E, C sharp, which are the three notes that we've used in the chord, but we're playing them one after the other, which is called an arpeggio. Okay, so we're going to go. Four times, and then we're just going to change the note from the A to the G sharp and follow that same pattern of going 1, 2, 3, 2, 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 2. And then again we're going to move the shape and do the same thing again. So it's A, C sharp and F sharp this time. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2. And then that first finger here only moves down to the D, and the same thing again, 1, 2, 3, 2. 4 times on each chord, okay? So once you've got that, it's like almost like an exercise of going 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2. Once you've got fluent at doing that, after you practice it a couple of times, it'll become easier and easier, okay? And then you can try and put them together to make just the right-hand part of the song at the introduction. So it basically goes. And starts again. Okay, if you can't quite get that, then slow it right down. And then as you get more confident, try and speed it up a little bit. Okay, practice that round and round until you get used to that pattern of going 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, back over and over again until you become fluent at that. So that's the main part you need to practice, that pattern of the 1, 2, 3, 2. Because it's the same on every chord, you just change the notes you do it on, but it's the same kind of pattern to get that into your muscle memory to get it right, okay? So go around a couple of times getting that right hand part right before you even think about going on to the next part, okay? So it's just practicing the muscle memory. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, okay? Keep going round and round until you get that part right. Okay, so once you've got that part nailed, what we're going to look at doing is adding a left hand part using your bass notes, okay? Now we're going to use two different bass notes here. What we can do is we can do a version where we just use one note. That's for you guys with little hands. If you've got slightly bigger hands, I want you to try and use two notes at the same time using the same note, A and A, like this. Okay, and then when you move it to the next one, you do the G sharp, and you move down one to the F sharp, and then down to the D. Okay, now like I said, if you've only got little hands, you can just use one finger to do this, okay? So what you do is you just hold that note down for the whole time you're playing those notes. So it goes. Then we change. Then we change. And change. Now with two fingers, what that looks like is this. So I'm using my thumb and my little finger, if you see. Now if you use it right, you can kind of keep that shape the same and move it around and make sure you get it accurately right. Okay, so try and keep that shape the same and move it round. So again, same thing, you just hold it down, watch. Okay, and that pretty much is most of the song. If you practice it round and round and you kind of glue the bits together so there's no gaps in between the parts, that's most part of the song. That'll be the introduction, the verse and the chorus. Now there's one other section that we're going to have a quick look at now, which is the pre-chorus, the bit where it says, I hate to turn up out of the blue uninvited, okay, or some a party or something like that. Okay, which only happens once or twice through the song, but the chords change slightly. So we're going to have a look at how they change in that part and how we can try and put them together with the other part. So the last bit to learn is the pre-chorus. Now it's slightly different but also quite similar as well. So we start on an E major chord, which is E, G sharp, which is the black note next to the G, the one in the middle of the three, and B. Okay, now it uses the same pattern as before, that 1, 2, 3, 2. Only this time we only do it twice on the first two chords. So it goes. Okay, then what do? Is we change from the F sharp to the A to the C sharp. Now we have played that before, but we played it in a slightly different order, but we're going to play it in this order now for this part. And again, you use those three notes and just do that 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, twice on that one as well. So together those two are. Then the last one is a D major, which is just D, F sharp and A. Okay, and this time we do it 4 times that pattern. So all together, this is what it sounds like, okay? And then back into the other part for the other bit, okay? So practice that a few times. Okay, so like I said, that is the last part of it that only goes on the pre-chorus, and the rest of it is just the same as that first bit. Okay, so see now if you can work to put those things together and try and play the song in full. You might have to accompany yourself singing it to do it a bit slowly, and then when you get a bit more confident, try and play along with the recording. Okay, happy playing, and I'll see you next week.